Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about reading people more effectively. Learning how to read a room, learning how to feel and read people's energies. We all have to learn how to communicate more effectively, right? Okay, so I've worked in healthcare, I've been a coach for coming on almost 18 years. Worked in the service industry, I've worked in nutrition sales, consulting, you name it. If you deal with people, you've got to learn how to communicate more effectively. Because bottom line, this is how you're going to learn how to get what you want. Right? It all comes down to communication. Dating, relationships, platonic, romantic, it doesn't matter. It's super duper important. This is a skill that I've had to develop over time. It's not something that I just was great at. It was always a gift that I had. I could easily read a room. I could easily read if someone was happy or sad. Even going to the store, I could kind of feel energies. I could feel what kind of emotional state somebody was in. Even going to the gym, I have to put my headphones in a lot, and it is kind of me being antisocial, but it's a protective mechanism so that I can set healthy boundaries for myself and get done what I need to get done and focus clearly. Okay, so some things that I look for, even when I work in radiology. This is my CT machine. You guys see me walk around. Patients come in here and they're usually not at their best. So in order for me to get them to do what I need to learn to work with them and make them feel safe, to move in the positions that I need them to do. It's the same thing with nutrition coaching. Everybody is different. So being a good coach is working with someone and effectively being able to communicate what you need them to do to help themselves, but in a way that they're receptive to. You have to learn. You can be the best coach in the world, you can be the best healthcare worker, the best salesman, whatever, but if you can't communicate effectively with someone to get them to do what you want them to do, then what the hell are you doing? Alright, so this is a skill that can help you out in all aspects. So things that I look for, and I hate to call it interviewing, but just interacting with someone, is their warmth. Do they seem warm? Do they seem happy? What's their posture like? What's their body language? Pay attention. So those nonverbal cues are huge, because most of what people say or write, because we're a digital world, everybody wants to text, it's very minute into figuring out kind of what their mental and physical state is. Most of it's nonverbal. So paying attention to things like facial expressions, what's their tone of voice? How are they carrying themselves? What's going on? Be an observer and ask questions. So when you have conversations with someone, learn to be a question asker. You're going to be more likable if you learn to ask questions and make people feel heard, seen, understood. Be an observer. Ask questions. People like people who are interested in them. So that's just a good tip, no matter what you're doing, especially if you're on a date. I know for those of us kind of in the dating space, it's frustrating. I'm a very intuitive person, but there's a lot of times that I'm such an optimist and my heart is so big, sometimes I will ignore red flags that I intuitively know are there. So it's kind of you gotta learn to take the emotion out of things and look at the truth at hand. When people show you who they are, by their behaviors, believe that. If you're confused as to how somebody is communicating, there's your answer right there. So don't chase people, don't force people. Things should flow like water. I always say, be like water. Things should be easy. So pay attention to those things. Ask around. Partnership is everything. So learn to work with people around you, whether it's friends, people in similar spaces. When it comes to dating, guys, I'm just gonna tell you, there are groups out there and we talk. And girls and guys, I'm sure this is the same for guys. Just pay attention to how you're presenting yourself. What kind of integrity, what kind of values do you want to put out there? Because trust me, it'll get out and people pay attention and people do talk. So just some things to think about. And for anyone who's out there in the dating space, you guys deserve somebody who is sure of themselves and sure of you. Okay, you deserve that. You don't want anybody who's wishy-washy. And pay attention if you're presenting yourself that way too. I've been guilty of that myself. Just be clear, concise, honest. Don't tell people what they want to hear, just be yourself. Because in the end, like, if you're dishonest in any way, or even with yourself, it's gonna bite you in the ass. It does every time. Like, elective traits and non-elective traits. So elective traits are gonna be things like, you know, how they dress. Do they have tattoos? Like what's their style? What shoes are they wearing? Are they always late? Like, you know, behavioral things. You know, what colors are they wearing? You know, I love bright colors. You know, when I notice, like, when I'm happy and in a positive state, like, I want to wear bright, shiny colors and bling bling. You know, I always got my bling bling on. But paying attention to, like, what people are at. Emotional intelligence. You know, do they like deeper conversations? You know, are your conversations like surface level? Is someone a more private person? So paying attention to, like, personal needs and preferences. You know, are they an introvert? Are they an extrovert? Do you notice they feel more comfortable in certain spaces? Do they like phone calls, like for you coaches? Do they like phone calls? Do they like text? Do they like Zoom calls? Things more personal. Do they want to meet face to face? Like, these are all ways that you can serve people more efficiently. You know, and get what you want eventually, whether it's sales, you know, you want a relationship, effective communication. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, guys. These all make a big difference. You know, love languages. If you really want to get to know someone, like, talk about stuff like that. Like, what's your love language? You know, how do you show love? How do you want to receive love? Or back to introvert versus extrovert. You know, are you someone that, you know, like, quality time is a lot for some people. Like, maybe they want quiet time at home versus, like, going out. Figure out these things. All goes back to question asking. Ask questions. Really get to know somebody. You know, personality tests are big. I'm a big fan of, like, you know, just learning as much as I can. Astrology, you know, Myers-Briggs, human design, Enneagram, love languages, like, all these things are, I mean, it's just educational tools, guys. Even learning about yourself. Like, maybe you think that you need to receive love in the forms of gifts, but really, like, words of affirmation mean more to you. I'm words of affirmation. All you gotta do is, you know, tell me, be honest with me, tell me effective, consistent communication, and that means more to me than a gift. You know, but not everybody's like that. So figure these things. As far as reading energy, you will notice, like, when people are in high vibes, they're gonna be happy. Their tone of voice is gonna be, you know, different. They're gonna be light on their feet. Like, you can just tell. Like, for me, energy is very palpable. Like, I can feel it. Versus, like, when somebody is in a really heavy, like, low vibe, like, they're sad, they're depressed, like, you can tell by their posture. Like, usually their voice is lower, slower, and, like, you know, they may be more of an introvert or, like, antisocial, like, don't talk to me. Like, you can tell these things. So pay attention to body language. You know, pay attention to all these things. So verbal cues, body language, tone of voice, you know, how people dress, like, their posture. Ask questions. You know, be an observer, be truly interested in people, and pay attention. Like, at the end of the day, people just want to be loved, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be understood. And learning how to read energy, read people, they're all forms and skills of effective communication, and they're going to help you out no matter what you do in life. So, if you guys found these super helpful, I love y'all. I'm learning right along with you guys. So, high five. Everybody have a fabulous day, and peace out. I'm going to get to work. Bye.